In this video I'm going to show you 3 essential heavy metal scales and 3 great licks that go with them, so stay tuned. Hey there, this is James for James Shipway Guitar and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to show you some essential scales for heavy metal soloing and a load of licks that come from these scales, so I really hope you get a lot out of this video. Now you can get the tab and lesson notes from this video in my rock guitar lick bundle, which you can get for free by clicking the link underneath this video. Everything from this lesson plus a load of tab and licks from my other YouTube videos. So check it out, click the link below to grab your copy now. So let's jump right in and start looking at these essential scales for rock and heavy metal soloing. And we're going to start off by looking at how to play an A minor pentatonic and an A blues scale. The minor pentatonic scale is probably the most commonly used scale in rock guitar. Most of you probably know this already, but I'm just going to go through it very quickly because it's just that important. So for playing it in the key of A, I'm going to start at the 5th fret. I'm going to play the 5th and the 8th fret on the lower E string. I'm going to play the 5th and the 7th fret on the A string. The 5th and 7th fret on the D string. The 5th and 7th fret on the G string. On the B string, it's the 5th and the 8th fret. And on the top E, it's the 5th and the 8th fret. Now that's just used all the time in pretty much every rock style and every blues style. It's probably the most important scale you possibly know as a guitar player, and it's also the first one that most of us learn. So if you're just starting out, this is a great place to begin. Now it's really easy to convert this scale into what's called the blues scale, which is another essential scale for playing rock and metal. It's almost the same. All we've got to do is add a note into it. Let's look at how we're going to do that to this first minor pentatonic scale pattern. So we play 5 to 8 on the E string. On the A string, instead of just going 5 to 7, we're going to go 5, 6, 7. So we're just going to sneak this little note in between here. On the D string, it's 5 to 7. On the G string, it's 5, 7, 8. On the B string, it's 5, 8. And on the top E, it's 5, 8. So you can see it's the same as a minor pentatonic shape with a note added in here and a note added in there. Now when you're soloing, it's pretty common to use those two scales kind of interchangeably, so you sort of treat them as the same thing. Okay, so you heard the lick there in a couple of different speeds. And what's good about this one is it's got some kind of really essential pentatonic sort of fragments in there, which you're going to use time and time again. And you could hear there it works at a slower speed and at a faster speed. So it's the kind of thing you'll probably always use as you're playing. It improves over the years. So let's look at how we're going to play it. I'm starting off with the G string at the 7th fret and I'm going to bend it up to 9. Then I'm going to play the B string at the 5th fret. Now what you'll notice is I'm just killing off that bend with my picking hand here, so that when I let it down, we don't hear this. We don't want to hear it being let down, is the point. So we kill off with our right hand to get rid of it, and then we get a nice clean sound into that next note. So that's 7 bending up to 9, and the B string at 5. And we're going to do that 4 times like this. Next thing we're going to do is bend up the 8th fret on the B string. We're going to bend this up 2 frets to the 10th fret and then play the 5th fret on the top E. Kind of the same move, just shifted across a string set in the pentatonic pattern. And we're going to do that 4 times like this. So same thing, after the bend I'm choking it off with my picking hand so that I don't hear it being let down. If I put those 2 bits together real slow for you, it sounds like this. And you'll hear this fragment played, all sorts of great players, everyone from sort of Zakk Wylde to Kirk Hammett to Randy Rhoads, all the greats use this kind of stuff in their playing. Let's look at the next thing we're going to do. So we're going to pick the 5th fret on the top E. We're going to hammer on to 8. Now you notice I'm using my 3rd finger for these stretches. I'm reaching up. For these kind of licks it's often easy to do this, but you know, do feel free to experiment, but this is how I prefer to do it. So I'm picking 5, hammering onto 8 on the top E and pulling it back off again to 5. Then I'm going to play the 8th fret rather on the B string. And we're going to do that little fragment 4 times like this. Now I'm going to shift it over and we're going to play a little bit of blues scale stuff. We're going to use this added note here on the 8th fret, which you might remember from the pattern. And we're going to pick 5 on the B string, hammer onto 5, or hammer onto 8 and pull off back to 5. Then we're going to play the 8th fret on the G string. So we get this. Now we're going to do that twice like this. And then we're going to end by grabbing the B string at the 8th fret and bending it up 2 frets. So the second part of the lick is like this. Play this 4 times. This twice. And that bend there. Let me put that together for you slowly all the way through. Now, obviously these licks, you'll often hear them played really fast and stuff. You just have to work out at them at the level that you're at. And it doesn't mean that you can't use it in your playing straight away. So find a use for this lick, even if you can't yet play it at blistering speeds like your guitar heroes can on their recordings, alright? Just find a use for it. As well as playing the blues scales and minor pentatonics here, we can also start down here and start to work our way up the neck this way. And I'm going to show you a really useful pattern for doing that right now. It starts off the same, so it's 5 to 8 on the E string. Then we're going to play it as a blues scale, so we're going to go 5, 6, 7 on the A string, 5 to 7 on the D string like we did before. Now here's where it changes. On the G string we're going to play 5, move your first finger up to 7, then use your second finger to play the 8th fret, and maybe your third finger to play the 9th fret. So that bit goes. Sometimes you might even use your second finger, like that. Sometimes you'll see me do that. Kind of depends what you're playing, which one's best. To finish it off, we're going to go 8 to 10 on the B string. And on the top E, we're going to go 8 to 10. And we're going to add a little blues note in here at the 11th fret on the top E. So we've got that little added note there. Here's that shape one more time. let's have a look at how we're going to play that one. So we're up at the higher part of the scale here, and we're going to start with our little blues note being added in here. We're going to play the 10th fret on the top E string. Now I'm going to pick that first note, I'm going to hammer my little finger onto 11, and I'm going to pull it back off again to 10, and then I'm going to pull off down to 8 on the top E. So we get this. Now I'm going to pull 10 off to 8 on the B string, and then 9 to 7 on the G string. So that first fragment of the lick goes like this. Okay, so that's kind of coming out of the top part of that sliding shape. Now we're going to position shift back into the first shape I showed you, and we're going to start on the 8th fret on the G, that's the blues note, and we're going to slide it back to 7, and then pull off to our first finger at the 5th fret, like that. And to finish it off, we're going to go 7, 5, 7 on the D string. So I've got our minor pentatonic and our blues scale and the sliding blues scale. Now you can do an awful lot with that. But just for you guys and girls who kind of knew those shapes already, I want to give you something extra. And I'm going to show you how to play the natural minor scale, or the Aeolian mode, which is kind of like the minor pentatonic with a few notes added in. We're going to come back down to the 5th fret for this one, and I'm going to show you that pattern now. So what we're going to do is, starting on the E string, it's 5, 7, 8. On the A string, it's the same, 5, 7, 8. Onto the D string now, we're going to go 5 to 7. Onto the G string, we're going to reach down to 4 and go 4, 5, 7. Onto the B string, it's 5, 6, 8. And on the top E, it's 5, 7, 8. Now I seem to be really liking using this finger on all these strings today, but sometimes I would use my little finger. It's good to be able to do both, so sometimes I might play it like this. It very much depends on what you're playing, you know, which one's going to be best. So it's good to be able to do both, because then in the middle of a solo, if you're using some stuff here, you know, you're not going to trip up because suddenly you need to use an unfamiliar way of playing the scale. Let me run through that shape one more time for you, and then we'll have a little talk about how to use that, and I'll show you the lick. So when do we use this scale? Well, quite often in a rock or metal context, we can just kind of use it in conjunction with our minor pentatonic ideas. So we can take our minor pentatonic scale and just practice adding some of these other notes from the natural minor scale in there. And a lot of the time they'll work. Let's have a listen to our sample lick using this scale shape. Okay, let's take a look at how we're playing that one. So I'm starting off on the D string at the 7th fret, and I'm picking that twice, like this. You notice I'm using down, up, or alternate picking for that. And I'm just giving it a slight bit of palm muting there, just to give it that chunky sort of sound. Like that, rather than, I want the chunky sound. So I'm picking that note twice. Now I'm going to play the 5th fret on the G string, and back to the D string at 7. Now I'm going to bring my second finger down to the 5th fret, and I'm going to pull off to my first finger at the 4th fret. This is all on the G string. Then I'm coming back to the D string at 7, and I'm playing 7 down to 5. In the lick I'm doing that twice, like this. So that's the first half of it. In the next bit, it's similar to some sort of classic minor pentatonic type phrases, similar to kind of licks used to hear Randy Rhoads use, and we're going to bend 7 up to 9 on the G string. Then we're going to play 5 on the B string, 5 on the top E. Come back to 8 on the B string and pull off to 5. Kind of thing. Now we're going to hit this natural minor scale note, which wasn't in the minor pentatonic, at the 6th fret and pull it off to the 5th fret. Next thing we're going to do is grab the 7th fret on the G string. We're going to bend that up and let, like this. Let it down and pull off to 5 on the G string. Play the 7th fret on the D string. Then grab the 7th fret on the G string and bend it up. You'll notice here, I'm using my 2nd finger for that one, just to make it a little bit easier to transition over to this string for the bend. You don't have to do that, but I just find it a little bit easier. So if I run that whole lick together for you really slowly, sounds like this. Use these licks that I've given you just as a starting point, experiment with them, and try and find some of your own ideas from these scales so that you start to find and build your own style and your own vocabulary of ideas to use when you play your solos. You can also look at solos by your favourite players and try and identify when they're using these scales, and then just steal a few of their ideas and see how you can start to use them in your own unique way. So that's pretty much it for this video. Now don't forget to grab the tab and the lesson notes. It's in my rock guitar lick bundle. Click the link underneath this video and you'll be emailed your free copy of that. And also please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you'll get notified whenever I post more new videos like this one. But that's all from me today, so thanks a lot for watching, I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again very soon in another one of my video lessons. So take care till then, and I'll see you next time.